And so today I want to share with you what not to do when it comes to link building, because if you do these things as a marketing director or as a marketing team, then you're almost guaranteed to be pinging Google in a way that says, hey, I'm out here doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing in order to artificially increase my rankings. And because you've noticed, I'm going to get a penalty. Anytime you do any of this stuff, you're overstepping and you're entering into very dangerous territory, because at the end of the day, if you do too much of this stuff, what's going to happen is Google's going to penalize you, which means that your site is not going to rank at all. You're going to get a penalty and your site's going to disappear. The revenue from your search engine optimization, the search engine linking, the revenue from where you previously placed will just disappear. It will dry up, because at the end of the day, Google is where people are and Google makes the rules. So as a search engine optimization practitioner, as a marketing director, you have to follow the rules. Here they are. All right. So I'm going to give you the list, but before I do, I have a disclaimer. Everything that I'm going to share with you at one point in time in the past was acceptable. It was something that we did to rank in the search engines. But then at some point it got abused. Google was like, I'm going to put a stop on this. And now it's no longer acceptable. It's no longer something that you should be doing if you value the longevity of your site in the search engines, okay? And that's important to note. It's important to note because if you do a search for, what works, or if you have somebody tell you, hey, this tactic works, and then you go search it, you're going to find a lot of content on the search engines about that tactic. And a lot of that content, if it's pretty dated, is probably going to say, hey, this works. My site got to #1 and all this stuff. Always look at the date that was published. Search engines are changing their algorithm almost daily. In fact, multiple times a day. And what that means is that if you're not reading content, #1, that is current, then it's probably outdated. And #2, if it's like this amazing tactic that had this amazing result, if you're reading it, I can guarantee you that Google has read it and they've probably already locked that loophole or that tactic down, okay? So the importance of good SEO, white hat SEO, is super valuable today. It's all about creating amazing content and being a community member on the web, which we talked about the things that you can do and should do last week in last week's episode. This week, this is all about what not to do. The #1 thing not to do is to ask for anchor text. Okay, now I talked about how a robot will crawl the link, and whatever the words are that are linked, typically it's underlined, it's in a blue font color. That's called the anchor text. Okay, don't ask for that anchor text to be anything. If you want to customize your anchor text, do that on your own site. Okay, but if you're building links off-site, don't ask for anchor text to be customized at all. Just leave it up to the site owner. Let them figure out the best way to describe you. And even if they just put a click here, just let it be. The point is, you don't want to artificially spam your anchor text, meaning that you don't want to have too much anchor text. It's like weights. And if you have too much in any one direction, what's going to happen is you're going to ping Google and say that there's something artificial happening here. Look into it. So the #1 thing not to do is to request, in any circumstance, anchor text. #2, and I still see this happening a lot, and a lot of times it's just straight up spam. It doesn't even get through. Matter of fact, on Slam Agency, on our blog, we don't even allow this anymore. What is it? It's comments with links. So back in the day, your user profile could say, Tyler Kelly, and I leave a comment, and that Tyler Kelly could actually be linked. And so what we could do back in the day was we could change that Tyler Kelly, that profile name, to like Marketing Agency St. Louis, and then you could go leave a bunch of comments on blogs, and that link would appear over and over again on these sites, and it would say Marketing Agency St. Louis. Well, that worked many years ago. It's no longer acceptable, and it no longer works because it's immediately discounted. So it's not worth your time. It's probably going to get you penalized, and it doesn't work. #3, low quality directory links. Another way that we used to get links was to just spend a lot of time filling out forms on directories so that we could be linked in all these different ways. There's only a handful of directories anymore that are even worth it, and most of these are local SEO listings. We'll do a show on local SEO at some point in the future, but the point is, don't waste your time filling out forms trying to get listed on local directories. Don't waste your time filling out forms hours on end trying to get listed in directories. Don't spend your time paying $35, $99, $299 to get listed on a directory. Those directories are spam and they're not going to help you whatsoever. What will help you is a profile with a good rating on bbb.org. The Better Business Bureau is a reputable resource for the search engines to know which businesses are ethical and which ones aren't. So if you're not listed on bbb.org, be sure that you do. Go to bbb.org and apply for accreditation. And what that will allow you to do is to customize your profile page and throw a link in there. It's very valuable. Number 4 would be any sort of link exchange whatsoever. If I give you a link and you're going to give me a link, that's an automatic no-no. It's very easy as a search engine to tell that we traded links. That's called a link exchange. Don't do that. The search engines will spot that right off the bat. They'll discount it. If you do it too often, they might penalize you. So what did people do? Once this became not acceptable anymore, well, they began to build what was called link networks, because it's so easy for me to see as a search engine the connection between my site and your site and our exchange of links. What people began to do was build link networks where I have hundreds of sites and they all somehow are linking to one another, but never directly, okay? And so these link networks were super popular, about 8 or 9 years ago, and they worked. They really increased the rankings. And side note, sometimes they still work today, but it's super high risk, high reward, and as soon as you're caught, your site's going to get banned. So guess what? If you're a marketing director working in a corporation, if you're a small business owner, you want to maintain your site for years to come, it's not the way to go. And finally, number 5, the number 5 thing that you don't want to do when building links is to use automated tools, okay? So automation is something that as an agency we're exploring, and we're trying to figure out how to use automation and how to use AI in a way that is human, in a way that is not going to get you penalized, in a way that makes sense, allows us to scale, allows us to do things faster with more effectiveness and higher quality. But then also, we don't want to abuse automation. And in this SEO link building world, it is super easy to abuse automation. It's super easy just to go throw $100, on your credit card for a service that will provide thousands of links. Guess what? It might get you a temporary increase in ranking, but it will definitely at some point get you in trouble with Google. Now, Google's not the law, and so you are free to do things any way that you want to do things, knowing that Google really is where everyone goes to discover and to search and to find the things that they need. And so if you are crossing or overstepping those boundaries and you get caught, it's going to have an impact on your bottom line as a business owner. It's going to have an impact probably on your job as a marketing director. And so these are things that you just don't want to do. Using automation in human ways is good. Using automation to hijack the search engines, not so good. You will get caught. And so what's the common thread with everything that we discussed today? Number 1 is in some cases, it works. In some cases, you're going to see a temporary increase in rankings. But then number 2 is that if you get caught, it's going to have a negative impact long-term, a sustained negative impact on your website and on your ability to drive revenue from the web. So these are the things that you just don't want to do. These are the things as a marketing director that I urge you to stay away from. If you've enjoyed today's show, let me know. I highly value your comments, your messages, your DMs, your emails. If you're watching, let me know. If you are listening on a podcast network, be sure to subscribe, rate, or review. And if you came across this on IGTV or in social media, do me a favor, like and share. It's important that we get this content out to more and more people, to more and more marketing directors and founders and business owners so you know what works, what doesn't work, what to do, and what not to do in order.